I'm Larissa Draves, and I'm with Senior Enrichment Day Planning Committee. Thank you so much for joining us today. We wish the timing worked out so that we could be together in person, all 400 plus people with us, but that wasn't possible. So thank you for joining us virtually today, where we're all home and enjoying one another's company from the comfort of our homes. Today, for our speakers, we have Kathy Morin from the Cadillac Area Visitors Bureau and Janet Korn from Experience Grand Rapids. I'm going to introduce both of them, and then I'm going to do a quick thank you of our sponsors while Kathy gets her PowerPoint set up. Kathy is the interim director for the Cadillac Area Visitors Bureau, and today we're going to learn about the adventures of Caddy the bear, who helps promote Cadillac. From the great outdoors to some unique shopping and culinary experiences, the greater Cadillac area is a short drive from the greater Mecosta County area and offers a fun day of adventure. Jana is the experienced Grand Rapids Senior Vice President, and she's been with the Bureau for more than 20 years. She's been actively involved with many of the projects and transitions and changes that you've seen happen in Grand Rapids. We're very much looking forward to hearing more about new things that are happening at attractions such as Frederick Meyer Gardens, the Sculpture Park, the zoo, and Grand Rapids' growing beer scene. So thank you, Kathy and Janet, greatly appreciate it. Just a quick thank you to our sponsors. I'd like to thank Spectrum Health Big Rapids. I'd like to thank Lerner, Zerny, and FATH. And I'd like to thank the Commission on Aging because they have hosted this event for over 30 years. So we greatly appreciate it. And at this time, I would like to turn it over to Kathy. And thank you again so much, both of you. And we'll begin with Kathy from Cadillac.
All right. Good morning. Thank you so much. Again, my name is Kathy, and I wanted to wish you good morning from Cadillac. We're about 42. Oops. Here, let me get going here. Uh-oh, that's not working. Oops, sorry. It's lagging just a little bit. My apologies. So we are your neighbors to the north, just about 35 to 40 minutes travel time up US 131. And it's about 42 miles exactly from downtown Big Rapids to downtown Cadillac. So pretty easy, manageable drive for a day trip, or of course, we'd love to always have everybody overnight. So we're talking about Caddy. So who is Caddy and how did Caddy come to be? So our tour guide today is Cadbury Shea Mitchell, or better known as Caddy. Let's see here. So you might wonder how did that name come about? So we had a naming contest when we introduced our bear back in December, January of this year. And some of the names that kept popping up were Shea and Mitchell, and those are a nod to historic figures and namesakes of the Cadillac area, such as Lake Mitchell and Mitchell Street and the William Mitchell family. And, you know, with all these names, it was kind of cool to have, but then of course it got to be quite a mouthful to say Cadbury Shea Mitchell. So we just simply call him Caddy. And I've got a short video to show you of, you know, kind of how Caddy came to be. So let me show you that real quick. So that's how Caddy came to be. The story is that, last year was such a crazy year that after the crazy year of 2020, Caddy just was like, I don't want to hibernate in the woods anymore. Stepped out of the Huron-Manistee National Forest, hopped along M55 and found his way into Cadillac, passing through some of the landmarks along the canal, the butterfly wings over by the senior center, and of course the sweet shop downtown, which was amazing. And so getting into our office, of course, had to give him a mask back at the time, put him to work, and he decided, he got a little zoomed out pretty quickly, like most people. So he wanted to live a big adventure and explore the Cadillac area. So hence the reason that been kind of having a lot of fun with that to get him out and explore the area. One thing that Caddy has not tried is kayaking or canoeing quite yet. We do have the two rivers, the Pine River and the Manistee River. They offer, there's liveries that offer paddle sports year round. So Pine River Paddle Sports, for example, just did this rafting tour last winter, and it was wildly successful, and they're going to continue that. But as you can see, no matter what season you're in, the scenery is going to be absolutely beautiful, whether you're in a canoe, a kayak, or a raft of some sort. And it's a great family activity for all ages, and just checking with the liveries to understand the rivers and which speed most people might be comfortable with. The Pine runs a little faster, and if you're a beginner or a novice, you may not want to do certain stretches of that one. Or if you prefer to stay on dry land, which a lot of people do, there's hundreds of miles of trails, including the White Pine Trail, which is the large picture on the side. And you're very familiar with the White Pine Trail as it heads your way as well. These trails are great because all of them you can access year round, which was fantastic during COVID. That happens to be my 6-year-old daughter. We were in the woods, back last March and April when everybody was kind of a little stir crazy. We were really grateful to be able to take her out and just get out and walk. And that was at the Carl T. Johnson Hunting and Fishing Center in Mitchell State Park. And then the bottom picture is along the walkway along Lake Cadillac. And you can see a bit of the pavilion, the music pavilion right over there. And last summer, my husband and I did a bucket list activity for me. We walked the 7.5 miles around Lake Cadillac, which didn't take as long as I thought it was going to. But it was a really cool vantage point to see the lake that, you really don't see it when you're driving the vehicle. Let's see here. So we do have other activities that aren't maybe as physical or intensive. We have a lot of self-guided tours in our community. One of them is the Old Indian Trail, which has markers from Traverse City, Cadillac to up to Traverse City. We have a brochure. As you can see, Caddy was in front of the museum, exploring historic buildings, sculptures, and monuments. And finishing up this season, we also have the morel mushrooms, morel mushroom guide. But as with many special fishing spots or hunting spots, morel hunters will never ever share where they're finding their morels. It's a pretty good elusive kept secret. So in the summertime, I alluded to the lake shore with the pavilion, and there's music. But this is really, kind of how spring and summer go in Cadillac. We had actually hosted last week Back to the Bricks car show on a Monday night with about 300 vehicles. This wasn't a photo of that, but it looked very, very similar. It was beautiful weather, and it was a great opportunity for people to get out and about. MESIC has the Morel Mushroom Festival every May, and I'm grateful that they were able to host safely this year, being an outdoor event. They also host Jeepers with a lot of mud, and doing that in May, which is a nice kind of a spring summer kickoff of a lot of Jeeps flinging up a lot of mud, and looking at what those vehicles look like after they've come from MESIC, it's really kind of funny. So as I mentioned, we also have live music in the city park. So this would be a fountain from City Park. This is a photo of the Festival of the Arts. Unfortunately, that's not going to happen this summer. in July, but it's a very, very popular festival with all kinds of artistry, and it's usually a pretty amazing place. A couple of newer additions to our downtown in our city park. As you can see, the fountain, and then behind that is the pavilion where there's the live music. We also have the market, and that they're hosting a brand new farmers market with some artisans starting on it's on Tuesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. It just started last week, and it's been overwhelming. The vendors are selling out because there's been a lot of people. They have a lot of the handmade items, a lot of locally grown items, right now, like lavender and honey and those kinds of things. And as the season progresses, obviously, so will the types of produce being available, live music, kids activities. I mean, it's a really, really fun community space downtown, and that's adjacent right there to the city park. There's also a splash pad, which the kids, well, actually kids of all ages, it's fun to watch them splashing through there, especially on the warmer days, and a beautiful fireplace. So it's really just a nice family friendly, kids, grandkids, this immediate area to walk along the paved pathway of the lakeshore. Right behind this city park archway is our downtown with, of course, shopping and restaurants and those kinds of things. And I'll touch on those in just a moment. So Caddy has also found different ways to keep in shape and to get out this summer and enjoy the sunshine. He's out golfing here at the Cadillac Country Club. And then this other picture over in the top right corner is an aerial of Lakeview on the Green, which is one of our other golf courses. We have a total of 8 in the immediate area. And again, scenery, just fantastic year round, and they're open, as early as they can in the spring and go as late as they can until the snow starts flying in the fall. And then Kenwood Beach is one of the lakeshore beaches that is on Lake Cadillac. And it's a great family, again, family, all ages, excuse me, kids, grandkids, multi-generations of families hang out at Kenwood Park with a new bathhouse, a lot of new playground equipment. And again, just a beautiful, beautiful scenery and easily accessible on that area. So let's talk about fall colors. So this is one of my favorite seasons in this area. Not only the agritourism, where you can go out to, the pumpkin farms and the apples and the goats and the lavender and all those different types of agritourism. But so example, this is Cabernet Peaks, obviously not quite, before the snow is flying. There is a rumor, hopefully it's going to come through, that they'll be doing chairlift rides in the future, depending on the equipment they have available. We'd be really looking forward to that. And then you can see on the bottom, there's Lake Mitchell on the left side and Lake Cadillac on the right side. And those are connected by a canal. And I will talk about that in just a minute because there's some unique fun things about that. And then on the right-hand side is the Little Mac Bridge up in Music. It's a 245-foot wooden pedestrian footbridge, and it's the largest wooden suspension bridge in the Lower Peninsula. And we also offer, we talked about the tours earlier, the self-guided historical tours or the old Indian Trail. We also have 4 designated routes for fall colors. And so those, we have maps and brochures for those. And it's a very nice day trip if somebody wants to take a loop. Like I said, one of them kind of heads more towards Lake City in Missaukee County. And then just 4 different routes around the region to catch these colors at their peak. And it's absolutely, absolutely gorgeous. And then, of course, winter, not entirely my favorite season. I like to stay inside and cozy up a little bit with my cup of tea. But Caddy was out snowmobiling. We're a snowmobile destination. Rentals are coming out. So if it's something that, somebody wants to try, there's rentals available. Caddy also went ice fishing for the first time with some tip-ups, and that was kind of fun. Ice fishing was also really popular in the winter this year. And it's nice to see multi-generations and actually having, 3 generations of family, you know, maybe a grandson, a dad, and grandpa out fishing together and learning these things together. The DNR is seeing a lot more of these multi-generational things popping up, which is fantastic. A lot more people wanting to get outdoors and find more things to do outside. And then Caddy also went skiing at Cabernet. This looks like he kind of fell down, but we have a fun video where he's kind of zooming around a little bit. And we do have, you know, at Cabernet a couple of times a week in the summer, excuse me, in the winter time, the Silver Streak program, where they actually give discounts to those that are 60 and older, and they'll give really greatly discounted lift tickets. So if that's something that people wanted to look at trying, or at least kind of get out and maybe take, you know, family, that would be a fun thing to try. It's a great place. They said my husband and daughter and I went out. And then I remembered why I haven't skied in 20 years, but my 6-year-old and my husband ended up definitely being a daddy-daughter thing this past winter. And they went so many times and she absolutely loved it. She went from you know, hugging the tree, you know, when we first ever got there, to wanting to go up on the chairlifts and go down the runs by herself. So it's a very family-friendly, family-oriented facility. And again, all ages, and really people really enjoy going. So all of these activities can make a bear very hungry. So Caddy had his first green beer ever at the Pines Sports Bar on St. Patrick's Day. He enjoyed a punchki from Blue Heron Cafe and Bakery, which is definitely one of the best stops in downtown Cadillac, not only for baked goods, but fresh, you know, fresh food from scratch, amazing salads and that kind of thing, with a lot of locally sourced ingredients. And then stopped at After 26 and saw our friend Margaret, who's a wonderful lady. And the After 26 Depot restaurant is a fantastic restaurant with great food, great location, and an even better mission. So when disabled young adults hit age 26, they age out of the services available to them. So what After 26 does is brings those individuals in as project workers, and they work alongside other employees to learn skills and assist with operations of the restaurant. So it's an amazing mission, but again, also really great food. It's also next to the lake downtown and the live music in those areas. And then, of course, the sweet shop. You can't go to downtown Cadillac without stopping in the sweet shop. They do give free samples of their famous snowbirds, which are these amazing. Usually, it's the white chocolate ones that they share. Every time you walk in, they'll hand you the platter, and here you take one. And it's hard to really only want to take one because it smells amazing in there. And we also have Horizon Books, which is an independently owned bookstore, one of the few left out there. We also have 2 other bookstores that are resale shops, which is really kind of great. I know when my mom comes to town or my mother-in-law comes to town, they hit up all 3 of them. And then Caddy's sitting over here at Serendipity, hanging out. Either as a Serendipity store in downtown Big Rapids, and then here the one in downtown Cadillac as well. So I mentioned earlier that there is this unique canal. This canal connects Lake Mitchell and Lake Cadillac. It was constructed in 1873 for the lumbermen to transport the logs from one lake to the other. And you can see in the black and white photo, they have logs along the side to kind of help, the logs keep kind of pushing through. And they dug the canal between the 2 narrowest points of where the lakes would be. So it's about 1/3 of a mile long between the 2. And then it was originally about 20 feet wide. And over the years, it's been expanded about 6 times. And now it's 48 feet wide. And then now it serves Mitchell State Park boaters and visitors. So like I said, this first photo was about circa 1880s. This other one, I think, looking at it, I'm thinking about maybe 1960s, 1970s perhaps. And then this is more of today, what the canal looks like as it serves. And it's a great place for camping because then people can also have their boats right outside their camper, and tons of fishing as well. I forgot one more part. And the unique part of this canal, it's featured in Ripley's Believe It or Not, because this bizarre phenomenon, not every year, but a lot of times in the winter, the canal will freeze first before the two lakes. And then once the two lakes freeze, the canal opens back up. So there's been college students, university researchers, Ripplings, believe it or not, don't fully understand why that does what it does, but it's really kind of a unique experience to see. And one more unique thing about Cadillac is that, and for all you rockers out there, in 1975, Cadillac came to, KISS came to Cadillac for the homecoming game. I guess they were having a rough season or some kind of something, and they used to play KISS in the locker room to get themselves all riled up to go out and win the game. And somehow somebody got wind of it, had connections, and brought KISS to Cadillac. So, and you know, they had this whole big thing. And a few years ago, they had a 40th anniversary party. We do have a KISS tour as one of our things that you can go out and kind of see some of these monuments. And of course, Caddy wants to be a rock star. So there's Caddy and his Detroit Rock City. So this is the end. We've got Caddy in a Cadillac Eldorado up at the Cadillac Grill and Eldorado Golf Course. And actually that's 131 right back in the background. You know, we're happy to have you come visit Cadillac. Our website is cadillacmichigan.com, or you can find us on Facebook. And you know, if there's any questions that you have, I'm happy to answer. And Larissa also knows how to get in touch with me. We chat all the time. So happy to take any questions or hand it back to Larissa and learn about your neighbors to the south.
Kathy, I had just one question that I think would apply to our attendees today, as well as future viewers of the video. And I do know you have an abundance of trails. I've been on many of them myself.
Yes.
Can you tell us, I guess, top of mind awareness, which are the ones that you would consider the most accessible, universal design? Thinking about wheelchairs, but then just thinking in general about more like flat surfaces, not necessarily a wheelchair, but which ones come to mind that you would recommend?
Sure. The paved one along Lake Cadillac is the Keith McCulloch Walkway is definitely the most accessible as far as it being paved. That it wraps around the lake and touches on, we have it's called a sound garden, which has some, you know, musical instruments and those kinds of things. But that whole stretch is definitely the easiest to access for all ages. It's flat and it's paved. But then also, I mean, if you're looking to kind of get out a little bit more out into nature, the Carl T. Johnson Hunting and Fishing Center, the Heritage Nature Trail, they said that was the one where we had our daughter walking out, and it's kind of there's a very solid path that's not paved, but it's kind of through a marsh walkway. It's pretty flat, pretty wide. So although a wheelchair may not be able to access it as well, we have seen people with strollers out there, and those would be the top of my head, actually, and the White Pine Trail. As you know, I mean, I think as we get farther out of town, it might get a little more challenging. But just the stretch that is closer to town, it's wide, it's flat, it's paved, and they're actually looking at the city of Cadillac is building a trailhead downtown, actually next to the After 26 Depot restaurant is a trailhead. So I think there's quite a few. On our website, we also have a list, you know, kind of the difficulty of trails. I wouldn't suggest the Big M, you know, out by the Manistee River. That's one of the more challenging. But there's definitely a lot that are, again, family friendly or all ages, all abilities.
Awesome. Kathy, thank you so much. And what a great segue to Janet, because one of the things that ties our three communities together is the White Pine Trail, all the way from Comstock Park to Cadillac. And what a great it's just a great thing in our community. So thank you again, Kathy. And Janet, I'd ask you to take it away at this time, please.
Hello. Actually, I really enjoyed that, Kathy. I learned a few things that I didn't know, because sometimes, even though we all work in tourism and we think we know things about other places, until you've explored them in the detail that we all get to in our roles, you really don't know a place. So I'm going to tell you about 10 really great reasons I think you should consider traveling 60 miles to the south to visit Grand Rapids. And so let's get started. So I'm going to start with one of my favorite ones, and that is the Frederick Meyer Gardens and Sculpture Park. This is really a jewel in our community. It's the second most visited museum or cultural attraction in the state of Michigan, right behind the Henry Ford in Dearborn. It's a 158-acre campus. It's one of the most significant sculpture and botanical garden experiences anywhere in the country. It features 5 indoor gardens, outdoor gardens, including a Japanese garden, a farm garden that is modeled after Lena Meyer's childhood home. And it also has a children's garden, nature trails, and there's tram rides, as you can see in this photograph. The sculpture park itself is 30 acres. So it's a wonderful place to take a walk, but it's also a wonderful place to take a guided tour on the tram. There are over 300 pieces of fine art sculptures. Some of them are significant artists that you might recognize, like Auguste Rodin. But this particular visual here are 3 pieces by an artist out of Spain. His name is Jaume Plensa. And we are actually close to unveiling one more piece of his work at Frederick Meyer Gardens in their new Welcome Center. So before 2021 ends, there will be yet another piece by this artist. And we just learned a week ago that we're also getting a piece by this artist that's going to be placed still this year in the heart of downtown Grand Rapids. So it's so exciting. This stainless steel art is made out of little letters. And so you can just kind of imagine what the artist might have been trying to say with the placement of the individual letters. And just yesterday, Frederick Meyer Gardens and Sculpture Park announced their 28 concerts that are going to kick off in mid-July at their 1,900-seat amphitheater. Wonderful place for a concert. The second reason to visit is the Grand Rapids Public Museum. And this museum is located downtown Grand Rapids, right on the edge of the river. It features an amazing carousel. It also features exhibits that would celebrate both the history of Grand Rapids, but all of West Michigan. So the habitat, the natural environment, the river, the water, the old streets of Grand Rapids, and the people who were the first settlers in our communities. It also has a Wurlitzer organ in the auditorium, and soon those are going to reopen to concerts now that our indoor capacity restrictions have changed. There's also a planetarium there with shows. And right now they are featuring an exhibition called Popnology. And this is a wonderful, fun exhibit that offers hands-on experiences where you can explore both pop culture integrated with technology. Reason number 3 is the Grand Rapids Art Museum. This museum is also located right in the heart of our downtown next to Rosa Parks Circle. And Rosa Parks Circle is currently being renovated. So if you wait a little while to come visit by fall, it should be all spiffed back up. It's a little shocking to me that it's actually been there for 20 years already. And the Rosa Parks Circle was designed by artist Maya Lin. And then the Grand Rapids Art Museum chose to be placed right next to that piece of public art, landscape art. The Grand Rapids Art Museum is only currently open 3 days a week, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, but we expect them to return to a more full schedule in the fall. It's also the world's first newly built LEED certified art museum in the world. And LEED certification means that they took an eye towards sustainability. So there's actually a tour you can take, with a tour within the tour of an art museum, to learn more about what a LEED certified building means and how the water is reused and saved. So rainwater that hits the roof actually fills the pond and things like that. The next reason to visit Grand Rapids is the Gerald R. Ford Presidential Museum. Currently, right now, they have not reopened yet since the shutdowns from the pandemic, but we anticipate an opening date announced soon. But one way you could experience this museum from home is they do actually have an extensive list of virtual programming that they've been offering, and you can find details about that on their website. Another fun place to explore is the downtown market, and this is located just on the south edge of downtown Grand Rapids, and I like to refer to the downtown market as a food emporium. So this is both a place to go hungry and also to do your shopping. And you can try things from tacos to sushi to vegetarian meals to carvers and get one of the best cheeseburgers in all of Grand Rapids. There's a wine bar, there's cheese, there's fresh bread, and don't forget to leave without trying Love's ice cream, which is the best locally made ice cream in anywhere. The downtown market is open 7 days a week, so it's both a fun place to go dine, but also to just explore food. Another key reason why you may already have visited Grand Rapids is to visit some of our area shopping. And we have 3 large area shopping malls. One of them is an outlet mall, Tanger Outlets. And to me, it's one of the most beautiful outlet malls anywhere that I've ever visited, because it's actually an outdoor, and this is actually a photograph from that place. So not the outlet malls I remember from before. So really great shops, and everything there is back open. Dining out is also a key reason to come here. If you travel to town for whatever reason, visit a museum or to visit a friend or relative, you'll want to find some local area dining location close by where you are, or you might just look up one of your favorite chains, because we also have a lot of the national recognized brands that you might actually love too. Another thing that's starting to come back is our craft beverage touring. So you may have heard that Grand Rapids is known as Beer City, USA, and that's because we have over 60 area craft breweries in the area. We also have several distilleries and meaderies that are also making products. And so this is actually a picture from Long Road Distillery, who continues along with some of our other locations to win awards. Now, some of the craft beverage tours, unfortunately, were not able to be held during the pandemic, but they are starting to come back online. But you can put together your own craft beverage tour by visiting more than one location. And the team at Experience Grand Rapids has a couple of different programs where we encourage people to do that safely. And then I want to remind everybody that Art Prize is coming back in 2021. So Art Prize will kick off on September 16 and will last for 18 days and conclude on October 3. And this is the public art event that's completely free and completely open. New this year is artists are going to be able to sell their work, and also, and I'm not sure I would have a place for this piece at my house, but it'll be great to see what the artists do bring. I heard yesterday that we've had 1,700 artists submit their ideas to the event. And so it should be exciting to see how many of those match with the 200 venues that have said, well, we'd like to host some art. So that's coming in the fall. And last but not least, Broadway. You may have heard that Broadway in New York is reopening. Well, Broadway in Grand Rapids is coming back as well. And our shows kick off in January with Hairspray. And we also have Hamilton coming back for a limited engagement in February. And some of these other programs that you may have heard. Their season tickets are now currently on sale. And they also have some small season tickets where you can purchase tickets to 3 and 4 different shows. So if Broadway is your thing, then you should go to Broadway Grand Rapids and purchase some tickets, or they also sell group tickets. There are matinee shows, and those are held right downtown Grand Rapids in our Performing Arts Center. And I know Larissa was interested in me mentioning accessible locations. And we at Experience Grand Rapids, our website is experiencegr.com, have both an accessibility guide that you can actually print or search, but we also have included accessibility information with all of our cultural attractions. So that's available. That's available on our website as well.
Awesome. Jana and Kathy, thank you both so much. I'm going to look in the chat and just see about questions. While I do that, could you put your websites in the chat? That way it'll be on our permanent recording as well. I think that would be great. Jana, I'm excited about all of it. Meyer Gardens, man, I need to get a membership because you can go there 4 or 5 times a year easily, and every single time there's a new exhibit, there's a new installation, there's a new something. It's constantly changing. I'm amazed at the changes every time I go. So thanks for bringing some of those new things to awareness. And then also how exciting to think about being able to go to the theater again. I got a flyer in the mail for Circle Theater, and you know, it's exciting to think, oh wow, we will be able to go to shows again. That's really cool. So does anyone have any specific questions for Kathy or Janet? We'll wait just another minute. Oh, thank you for putting your websites in there. Great. Awesome. Thank you again, both of you. We will stay tuned. We'll look for your website. We'll look on Facebook, and we'll try to keep updated on the changes. But thank you again for sharing your time and your activities. For the attendees on the call, if you want to join us, we have an 11 o'clock session with Prerna Sethi from Spectrum Health, and Prerna is going to introduce us to chair yoga. You can watch the video and try it later. Or I would encourage you, you've got 15 minutes, get a stationary chair, no wheels, and get ready and just try it out with us. She has a PowerPoint, and she's actually going to show us demonstrate some of the moves for us. And again, there will be a recording so you can try it later yourself. Thanks for joining us. Have a great day, everybody.
Okay. Bye. Thank you.